The UK has one of the fastest growing multiracial populations in the world. And yet, according to a recent survey, 50% of parents admitted they wouldn't be happy if their child dated outside of their race. That's certainly true, isn't it, Andrew, of your girlfriend's parents?
Yes. I've been going out with my partner, who's of Asian origin, for about 2.5 years.
Yeah. She's actually tucked away behind the studio wall there,
right,
isn't she?
Yes, yeah. And we've been sort of... We felt it wasn't appropriate to... When you meet someone, obviously, you don't sort of suddenly just introduce them to your parents, although 2.5 years is quite a long time. But we felt that because there were children involved as well, and because we wanted time to actually establish the length of our, our relationship, and then sort of tell them and then move on towards hopefully tying the knot soon after telling them, rather than sort of like telling them and sort of waiting for a long period. But another reason is that they are likely to have concerns about my racial origin. Because there is a history with her sister that equally married outside her racial origin, and there were some difficulties. Well, initially, parents didn't accept it. In fact, there was quite a number of years where daughter and parents didn't talk at all. But things have improved over the years. Children, she ended up marrying that person. He's of British European origin, but I think there's going to be even an additional factor with the fact that I'm of African Caribbean origin, because of the sort of negative and prevalent stereotypes that exist in the wider society about, particularly because also I'm of Jamaican parentage, and there are lots of negative stereotypes out there.
Are they aware that she's in a relationship at all?
Yes, they are, yeah. They're aware.
What does she tell them?
Yes, they know that she's in a relationship. They, from time to time, want her to sort of find out where she's going with it, what's happening with it. Because she's also, her parents are quite religious also. They're of the Muslim religion. They disapprove of it from that, in that sense as well, the fact that, she isn't married and she has a relationship.
Do they never ask to meet you?
Yes.
What did she say? Bet she's running out of excuses after 2.5 years.
She's delayed it. She's managed to persuade them that, she will eventually do that, but it's just the timing, really, from her point of view. She feels that we're getting close to that point where we will be telling them within the next 12 months or so, because we plan to move things further forward and tie the knot in the near future.
So will you leave it sort of quite close before the wedding, do you think, in case there's problems?
Well, regardless of their, however they position themselves in relation to whether they disapprove or not, that I don't think that, that won't have a bearing on whether or not we go forward. It's really more or less telling them and then doing it soon afterwards, so it feels for them more comfortable for everybody, I suppose.
Is there a problem at all for either of you with that? Because obviously there has to be a certain amount of deceit here. Does that cause problems?
To some extent. I mean, she's met my family. I've met other members of her family. It's just parents I haven't met.
So, like, do her brothers and sisters know about you?
Yes, I've met them.
Wow.
Yeah, I've met her siblings, and, so there aren't any difficulties there. I suppose there is a degree of secrecy, and I think perhaps that secrecy is unique. Whilst that secrecy wouldn't, I think, be reflected in all mixed relationships, I think it might be particular to the fact that there's an Asian person in the picture, and in particular because I think the...
Is it not a bit like hiding away? Would you ever get worried when you're walking along the street in case they come out of a shop just as you're going past it? I would.
I think if that happened, I mean, we just deal with it. But I think it's, for now, I mean, as I said, we are moving towards telling them.
Can I ask a question, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
Sure.
When you say that in the next 12 months that you're thinking about telling the parents, but you're planning to get married, and then get married very quickly after telling the parents, but surely that's going to be an even bigger shock. You've got no time then. At least if you tell them now, you have time to get through the trauma of it and make sure that you get married for the right reasons. But if you sort of say, oh, by the way, this is my boyfriend, etc., and then get married, it's kind of, it seems a bit rushed at that stage. The two of you might be sorted out, but...
Well, I mean, firstly, getting married isn't really dependent on them. Yeah, we're not relying on their approval to get married. I suppose it's just a sequence.
No, I'd have to take issue with that, I'm sorry, because if she's not prepared to tell her parents now, but she is prepared to marry you, so why can't she tell her parents now?
Well, there are a number of things involved, really. There are factors, but I think timing is important, because I think for her as well, she's nervous about the idea of telling her parents. I think there's one thing about the parents, what their likely response might be.
And that must have been really tough for 2.5 years to be living with that kind of fear, and to a certain degree a lie. That must be hard for her.
Do they live near you, the parents?
Oh, sorry, we can't hear you. Just, I'll come over there next, though. I'll come over there next.
Right.
Yeah, go on.
I'd like to say, if there's already someone in the family that's already done this, is it really going to be that bad if you're the second one within the family? Now, the first one must have been an amazing shock, but now it's happening again, so surely it's not going to be that bad. And also, you know, you put yourself down saying, oh, you know, I'm black. But, you know, what's so bad about that anyway? You know what I mean? You're saying it's going to be worse because you're black? Why?
No, I think you're...
No, you were saying, you said, you know...
Yeah.
No,
I think you're taking me out of context there.
Right. I know what you meant there.
Yes.
What he meant was the negative portrayal of, you know,
I
the
know that.
Afro-Caribbean.
Yeah, also, but, you know, why is it going to be so bad? Yeah, OK, there is that negative portrayal of black people, but why go along with it anyway? You know, you're actually, by saying that, you know, you're actually going along with it instead of just saying, come on, let's go and tell them. You know, your sister's already done it, so come on, what's so bad about me?
Okay. Two things in relation to the 2 points you raised. First of all, if I go to the first point, in relation to the fact that there has been a situation before in the family where someone's married someone else.
Are you worried it might make it even worse if two people do?
No, I mean, my position is I'm not going to preempt what their response is likely to be, you know, whether it's negative or positive. I don't think there's any reason to worry about something twice by sitting and thinking, oh, you know, they're going to whatever. But I'm under no illusion as well that, you know, we live in a race-conscious society, and in relation to both black and white relations, and that occurs on, you know, sort of variety of different levels.
How do your parents feel about the relationship?
My parents are my parents are fine about the relationship. They've accepted the relationship. However, my mother equally has concerns about the idea of, well, you know, what is the situation with us?
Yeah, is it like, what's wrong with my boy?
Yeah, what's the matter been in this situation? But yeah, there is, from my side, there isn't a difficulty. And just to quickly respond to the other point, I wasn't putting down. I'm very proud to be black. The fact that I'm in a mixed relationship isn't because I have an issue about being black or the fact that Asian. I didn't choose my partner because she was Asian. The most beautiful and the first woman I've ever met in my life was my mother. And my mother's a remarkable woman. I've a lot to be proud of her for. And the majority of relationships I've had have been with partners of my same race. So I'm not choosing a partner because of their race. It happens that I've met someone who I love, someone who I share sort of commonality in terms of values with, and who I feel that we can make have a stable future together. Okay. So I'm actually quite proud to be black, and I think there's a slight conflict there.
Do you have any sympathy for Andrew's girlfriend's parents?
I do. I mean, it's understandable. I mean, like, it's not just about them accepting it. It's about cultural. You'd be seen as an outcast. It's frowned upon. Does your girlfriend or you not worry about being seen, being, you know, frowned upon by the community?
The Asian community.
Yeah, the Asian community. I mean, I can totally understand. I mean, I'm not traditional in what I do, but I respect my parents enough. It's not just about your community, it's about your family name. It's about respecting your culture, respecting your religion. Do you not, or your girlfriend, not worry about either of those things?
I think if we went around in the world worrying about everything that everyone else is concerned with, then we'll never sort of get on with our own lives. I think that it's true to say that I'm conscious of the fact that when we're out, that we do sort of attract certain responses from different individuals. I would say I get an awful lot of look from Asian men, and sometimes in a disapproving way as to what's this about, and also from older Asian people in a disapproving way. I wouldn't say that's generally the whole picture. Sometimes there are positives as well. Equally, my partner may also attract some sort of disapproval from women of African Caribbean origin because of the difficulties with a shortage of black men sometimes in the relationship.
Get away.
I think you said that you're not worried about what people think of you, otherwise you'd never do anything, but you're not doing anything, so you must be worried about what
we are doing something, but it's about timing. And the timing is about what's right at each step of the way. There are other things which I choose not to go into in terms of delays and so forth, such as...
do you think his girlfriend's parents are right in any way?
Well, I can understand in some ways the difficulty with the cultural thing, because my partner is Jamaican and I'm African, and we are the same colour. But we have so many cultural differences that a lot of the time, if we have arguments, it'll be because of those cultural differences. Like if I hurt myself, I hurt myself, and he goes, "Hush, baby." I was like, "What do you mean, be quiet? I've just hurt myself." And no, it means sorry. So, so aren't you going to find that, are you already not finding
do the differences get in the way of your relationship? Do they cause problems?
Sometimes, yeah. So even though we're the same colour, we have our own little cultural differences, and those differences can be really substantial. And even when I brought him to my parents saying, "This is my partner," he's Jamaican, my mother went, "Oh, a Jamaican." Because she's from West Africa. But I mean, they love him anyway, but, she was thinking that I'd be with an African man because that's their,
Does it matter to you what they think, your parents?
Well, not really, because I've been out with, I used to go out with only white guys in my thing, because I had maybe my own sort of cultural identity problem, because I wasn't aware that I was even black. I didn't, I wasn't aware of the other people around me, but I've been socialised in a European environment. So my perception of the black man would be exactly as you described it, black, you don't want to go, oh gosh, because in society, generally, I think that they get a bit of a raw deal, and they can be perceived as, baby fathers, and you just leave the kids, and all that stuff, which isn't necessarily true at all.
Well, it's not true.
No, that's right, because it happens in any race, any colour, whatever.
Can I ask you a question? What religion are you? Are you Christian?
I have Christian influences. I wouldn't say I'm a practicing Christian, but
Are you a lawyer? You answer questions really well.
I have Christian influences, but if I was to sort of say
what's your point? My point is that your girlfriend's Muslim. Would you be willing to convert? Because you have to convert to marry into the...
that depends on if you choose a Muslim marriage.
No. Did you want to come in? Did you want to come in? Let's speak then.
Sorry, I'm half Pakistani. My dad's a Muslim. This is my mother. She's Portuguese, Roman Catholic.
I'm Roman Catholic and practice my religion.
They got married in a church. I was baptised a Catholic and I went to a Catholic school. Now, I've had identity issues growing up myself, but as for my parents...
We're going to come to that a bit later, but just from your parents.
As from my parents' point of view, they've had a fantastic marriage. Next week, they'll have been married 35 years. Neither of them have changed each other's culture to get on with each other. Neither of them have opposed each other's culture to get on with each other, and they're completely in love. They hold hands, they kiss every day, they are completely compatible, and she's Catholic, he's a Muslim, and they, two different races, two different religions, and there's been absolutely no problems whatsoever within their marriage.
It's quite be good for your parents. That's great.
Oh, well, that's for me. Like I said.
But on average, though, what I found is more with me and some of my friends that it's really going out with people from other cultures. It can be sometimes be a bit of a hassle. Like you've got, for example, the different music, different foods, different religions, different way of doing certain things.
You know,
Because, like,
you enjoy
the
everything there as well, isn't it?
dating-
Vanessa, this is your boyfriend Jason. I mean, is that a problem? Food, music, isn't that something you can share?
It's not a problem at all. At the end of the day, right, we're all human beings. We breathe the same air. We have the same blood flow through our brains, through our veins rather, not brains. What I'm trying to say is that at the end of the day, why not just enjoy each other's differences, enjoy each other's cultures? My mum cooks Asian food. My dad's gone to church. Do you know what I mean? They've enjoyed each other's cultures, each other's differences.
Do you not think that that's possible, Simeon?
It's possible.
And they have a fantastic marriage.
I think the dating game itself is complicated as it is.
And that's why.
And with me, it's like I enjoy certain kinds of food, certain kinds of music. I'm a Christian, etc. And so I'll be looking for people that have the same as me, that enjoy the same things I enjoy.
Is there no way that you would date a girl from a different race then?
I wouldn't say no. For example, if I happened to got to know somebody. And we kind of group together and maybe things happen, I don't know. But as for going out to looking specifically, no, I wouldn't actually. I actually look.
Are you trying to say? Sorry, can I say
black
something?
Girls because of the way that the similarities and the things that we have in common.
Yeah, but, sorry, can I say something? Can I respond to you? I've been dating black men since I was 18 years old. Now, it's not to say that I wouldn't date another race man, because I'd date any man if I was attracted to him. And my point is, are you trying to say that because I'm not black, me and you could have nothing in common? Because I love West Indian music, I love West Indian food. I'll go to the Caribbean with you anytime. How can I not have anything in common with you?
James, don't you feel about this?
He's going to take me to the Caribbean, don't worry. I'm sure you'd love going to Portugal, not my culture.
It comes down to culture. For example, my gran, she's died, unfortunately, she's died, but my gran was white. If you looked at her, you'd think she's a white person straight off. But as soon as she starts talking, you hear the Jamaican accent and the food she cooks.
Is there anything else? We know about the food and the music. What else? What else? The food, the music, what else?
It's the culture. It's nothing to really do. It's not really the skin complexion, really. It's the culture.
What does your culture mean to you, apart from the food and the music? What else?
It's basically what my parents, how my parents are and what they've inbred in me. And
so you're talking about values?
Your morality is different.
Your morality.
You don't need to change your culture just because you have a woman of another race. You carry on with your culture, she carries on with hers. You just enjoy each other's cultures. You don't have to change.
I hear what he says, and I hear exactly what you say, and I can see that you two have very opposing views. But the thing is, there are some things that he's saying that I think can be true, because I used to date, only white guys and everything, and then I started my first ever boyfriend. The first guy who's black that I went out with, he's the one that I'm going to marry, and the reason why, partly because he's very like me. So we're very similar, we're the same colour, but that helps because he understands, my Africanisms, like he understands things like my hair, my afro hair, and he understands my skin, how it scars, and, he just understands things about me as a person physically. That when I've been in relationships with white guys,
does that really cause huge problems?
If you're with a man who...
so, because it doesn't cause for me. I have been married for 35 years.
Yeah.
But in
We
general
are totally different. I mean, I'm Roman Catholic, Portuguese. My husband is Muslim, Pakistan.
So how have you made it work?
It's been work for sure.
She's very happy.
With my partner, I find that one thing that she mentioned to me, in terms of, because she'd never been out with someone of African Caribbean origin before, she said to me she's surprised at how similar my culture is to her own.
Yeah.
And fundamentally, we talk about values, different values and so on. There's quite a lot of crossover. It's more, a lot of it is in our head, the assumptions we make about difference and how we exaggerate those differences. We have far more in common with others if we're prepared to look and examine.
Absolutely.
Just quickly, what do you think?
Well, I think because, look, when I first started going out with my boyfriend, I mean, I didn't think I would date him because he's Muslim and I'm Hindu. And I thought that I would only date a Hindu guy, but I fell in love with him. And, everything's fine. And my mum wasn't accepting it at first, but she's all right with it now, so...
Yeah, she couldn't be with that smile on your face. Kathy, are there problems? Can there be problems?
There can be problems in the beginning. You have to really love somebody, I think, to put up with a lot that I put up with, say, 43 years ago when my first son was born.
What kind of problems? Your husband was West Indian,
Yes, he was Jamaican.
Yeah.
And they used to like to go out and party and leave you at home with the kids, and they've probably got a woman out in the blues that they've gone to, you know, and things like that. You know? Yes, you do, but at the very beginning you're a bit, you know, kind of drawn back from it. You're not too sure how it's going to go. I mean, I did have my children very early, so I was very young.
What would you feel about your son Stephen there sat next to you? What relationship would you like for him?
A black girl, or Indian girl, or...
Why? Not a white girl?
No, not white. No.
Why? Yeah, but imagine if he falls in love.
If he falls in love, that doesn't make any difference. He's had a relationship with a white girl, and I've taken her into the house.
But what if
it doesn't make any difference. It's just what I prefer.
Why? When you're white yourself?
Yeah.
Good question. You've got to think of the children, the way they go down and down, they get whiter and whiter. And I know the problems he had at school.
Yeah,
we're going to talk in a bit
about kids, but relationship, you would not want him to have a relationship with a white woman?
No, I didn't say he couldn't have a relationship.
You prefer her?
Yes, I prefer.
But why? Okay,
and it's another thing, like with black women. I get on really well. Most of my friends, I've got a couple of white friends, but most of them are really long-term friends from over 30 years ago. Black women, and we get on fine. I mean, we can be sitting there talking, and they'll be saying things like, white women. And they say to me, oh, we don't mean you. It doesn't matter, because they think that. They just say, we don't mean you. Say anything.
So you're not going to have to marry his girlfriend, though, he is.
No, to be fair, she's not saying she would let you.
He can marry whoever he likes.
Okay, well, we're going to move on. We're running out. Well, we're talking about parents who don't like their children's choice of partner because of race. But have your parents objected because they don't like your partner's background, their class, or the job they do? Call us now on 09015 223344 or email us via our website at bbc.co.uk/Now You're Talking. Or maybe you're the parent who feels your son or daughter has chosen the wrong partner. So what about if you're the child of a mixed-race relationship? Does that confuse your identity at all?
No.
No.
Yes.
No. Sophie?
Yeah. It did to me, but I don't think I realised until I left school. Looking back now, while I was in school, I was an outcast without even realising it. I was the only brown person in my class. I went to a Catholic school. Everyone was white. It was very Irish dominated. I'm half Irish, but I never really got looked at as being half Irish. It was all, you're brown, you're different. In class, if the teacher spoke about another country, for instance, oh, they make tea in India, everyone would look at me. The teacher would look at me. It'd be like, she makes tea. And I don't, you know, and I feel, as a child who's 5 years old, I felt like everyone's looking at me, what they're looking at me for, you know, I didn't like it.
You felt different.
Yeah, I just wanted to fit in.
Right,
that's all I wanted.
Yeah, but your mom or your parent, they should explain to you in the house. She should tell you about her culture, and your dad also should tell you about his culture.
And you would listen it together, learn children. It's not me who should be. Why should my parents make me, at 5 years old, stand up and say, you know, if I'm in a class with 30 white children, and shouldn't their parents also be encouraged, telling them about people like me, that they don't look at me as alien?
From them. Your mom, she's from them.
Yeah, but that wasn't I was only a child, do you see what I mean?
Can I just say?
What I mean,
are you happy now? Are you happy now with your...
Yeah, totally. Totally. As I said, at school I grew up probably rebelling, not knowing what I was or who I was, or, you know, feeling a bit confused and just wanting to fit in. But when I left school, I chose my own friends. I chose to go places where I wanted to go. I dated who I wanted to, and yeah.
Do you have any pride now in who you are, in your culture, your mixed culture?
Yeah, but I just think now I think I'm just me. You know, I don't look at myself as Asian or white. I'm me.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? What would I often wonder what would happen, not with just you, with any mixed relationship. It sounds an awful thing to say, but just say the countries were at war. I'm not talking about Iraq, I'm talking about any war. And you were older, and it came to the situation where your father's country was at war with your mother's country, and it came to the situation where you had to choose whose side you were going to have to take.
Right, can I say something?
That could be a very difficult problem.
No. I live in England. They can do what they want.
You're in the temple.
Has it affected your identity, confused you at all?
No, I honestly don't think it has. No confusion whatsoever. I know who I am, I know what I am, and I am proud of what I am.
Good for you. This is your husband, Faisal, isn't it, Graham? How many children do you have?
We have 3 boys, 8, 12 and 14 years old. And right from the beginning, I think it was probably helped by the fact that I'd worked and lived in different countries before I married Faisal. And so I was used to mixed cultures. When we married and started having children, from the time they started talking, they were taught about both cultures and brought up to understand that they could take the best and hopefully not the worst, but they could choose which they took from which culture.
Was that the same with you, Nancy?
No.
As both your parents were very happy together, did you?
Like I said earlier, both my parents were happy, but I've struggled a lot with my identity. And with me, it's been a case of, I had a Catholic education, such as Sophie, she's my friend, by the way. I had a Catholic education, like Sophie, because my mum wanted me to have a Catholic education. The problem with that was that I was the only child of colour in my school. There was a few black kids, and most it was all white. My mum, living in her country, hadn't realised what it was like to be mixed race in this country. And my dad was from his own country. Their families were in their own countries, and I was the only child. So I struggled not having family to turn to, parents who didn't really understand what to talk to me about, no family in this country, really, and no brothers and sisters. So I hated myself being mixed, and I told everybody I was Portuguese till I was 18 and denied my Asian roots. I was totally ashamed of it until I went to college where I was in a mixed environment. But even today, I would date anyone of any race, but I am more comfortable with men of colour because of my experiences as a child. And I'd rather be a man of colour, but I would date any race if I fell in love with them. But that's just due to still insecurities of what I had to deal with growing up and being teased.
Do you not think that's changed a lot, though?
Sorry?
The children who are being born today, mixed-race couples, but definitely, I mean, obviously, when you were little...
I'm 31 and I was in school in the 70s and 80s.
Because I remember when I was at school...
Just one second, Angela. Would you say that what are people... attitudes good now in society to you and your boyfriend? Would you say that they're
I think
positive?
He's a new boyfriend, but I have dated West Indian men before.
Are you going to get too many problems with people?
No, I don't think... I think today it's much more acceptable. You see many mixed-race couples. At the end of the day, the way I see it, Nadia, is that we are all living in this country, especially like the main cities, so we're bound to fall in love with people of other races. If you're in your own country and you're surrounded by your own race, then it's different. But when you're brought up in school and you eat and you drink and you go to the same places as Jewish, Indians, Muslims, West Indians, you're bound to fall in love because you're human.
Great. I'm going to finish there because that was perfect. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.